So first off, everybody has their own choice and flavor. I don't like having to use an extension of the magazine in order to get my pinky around something because it's lacking in surface area. And the less surface area that you have to get a grip on and absorb that kinetic energy and that force from the recoil and the kickback, then the less control you're gonna have over it. Plus super short barrel. For me, I'm not a biggest fan because it's gonna pop up really hard. And so you definitely wanna make sure you have a lot of surface area in order to compensate for that explosive kickback. Now, if you wanna get really good at what's called instinctive shooting, what you do is you pick out a light switch on your wall. And then you sit here at this compressed ready position, and then you punch it outwards, nice and slow, and then you get good sight alignment, front sight. Focus on the front sight tip, even sights, even lights, and then you hold it there. And you breathe. And you put your finger on the trigger, and then you come out, and then you come back to that ready position. And then you press back out forward, lining up your sights, even lights, focus on the front sight tip, put your finger on that trigger, take out the slack, and breathe. Feel the position in your shoulders, feel the force that you're pushing forward with your dominant hand, feel the force that you're slightly pulling back with in your non-dominant hand, creating a negative suspension on the weapon system, sitting out right in front of you, while staying focused and keeping your front sight tip held in the light switch on the target wall, or the target on the light switch, you know what the fuck I'm saying. Then bring it out, come back. And the longer that you could hold it out for, like this, and obviously the stronger you're creating those muscles to be, which means that you can aim with greater endurance. But also, when you practice this right here, this is what becomes ingrained within those neural pathways in the brain. And so in times of great stress, when you do not think clearly, you just pull a gun out and you point it at somebody and you're not even lining up your sights, you're just pointing it out and then you're shooting. In theory, I can close my eyes, punch it out forward, look, and my sights are perfectly aligned with exactly where I was aiming it on the wall previously. Because you'll never think, you'll only fall back to the greatest level of training you've ever received. 9mm, you're kind of shorting yourself on some of the benefits of carrying a standard 9mm, which is one of the major considerations is how much ammo can I carry. So 15, 12, 21 rounds even in pretty much standard 9mm. Here you're sticking with 6 or 7, which is actually the same as a 45 caliber, right. But you're not having anywhere near as much of the stopping power. And so, not saying you should do any of it, I'm just giving you the scientific data is that if you have 7 total rounds, you're gonna want a total knockdown force of X value, whereas here you only have a total knockdown force of Y value, much lower. Doesn't make it wrong, doesn't make it right. That just is what it is. But also single action. So this is a single action handgun, meaning that the number of movements the hammer makes whenever I pull back on the trigger, 1, now it's in single action, so that means it's a 1 movement, single action, external hammer fired weapon system. Some you could fire while the hammer's forward, that comes back and then forward. 1, 2, that's a double action handgun, but this only fires from single because it's a 1911 variant. Beautiful gun, Kimber, I love Kimbers. 1911s, I mean, it's amazing. That's probably, what, $1,200 gun or something? Very beautiful gun. I love these guns, but you just have to be aware. And this one's actually kind of anomalous where it actually does have a little bit of trigger slack. You see how the hammer's not going forward, trigger slack? Mm-hmm. Just a bunch of loose movement. Talk about that another time. But most single action handguns have like 3 pounds of trigger pressure, which means they're very sensitive. This one though, this actually has a lot. This probably has the most amount of trigger pressure I've ever seen on a single action handgun before, which means that it's probably a little bit safer to carry as a concealed weapon as opposed to a traditional 3-pound trigger. It probably has like 8 pounds, which is a lot. Yeah. Because of course then if you, for whatever reason the gun's not unsafe, which it all should be, breeze blows, the gun goes off. So anyways, that's a dry firing technique that you could use. That was really just your muscle memory technique. You could also pull back the trigger, make it go click, stay aimed in afterwards. That's dry firing. But the goal here is to just get this feeling down to where your presentation is something you can literally do with your eyes closed and then open up and be on target. Because of course in times of great stress, you're not gonna be like, oh my sights, you're gonna be literally looking at the fucking dude trying to kill you. And what's crazy is the bullets will go where you look once you get that down. So, cool.